Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Yanks of the Cop. We're here with your main lads, Stephen, Andrew, and Wahomie, here to recap the thrashing that Liverpool put on Atalanta in the Champions League. 5-0 result on the road with some rotation in the squad. If you watched any of the pre-match, we all thought it was going to be more of a nail-biter, more of a close game, but Atalanta tried to play against us, and they were absolutely battered. So before we get into it, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and give us a like. We really appreciate you guys. And, this is going to be an awesome run going forward. But, boys, let's dive into it. I mean, Andrew, right away, first, just what are your overall thoughts on that game? For me, best performance of the year so far.
Definitely best performance of the year. I mean, it was unbelievable. I thought we played really well against Everton too, but obviously the result wasn't nearly as good. But my very first thought was when I saw the team sheet, and I was like, holy shit, Wahomie was right. No Bobby Firmino in the lineup. It was Jota up top. That surprised the hell out of me. They did go with a 4-3-3, which I wasn't too surprised about. But then seeing Curtis Jones in the midfield, I was just like, all right, what's he doing in there? This is a massive game. And Klopp trusted him, and he definitely paid off. I thought he was fantastic. I gave him a solid 8 for the night. He was just everywhere. I think he held onto the ball too long at some points, but he's a young player. He can be a little naive at some points, but the midfield overall with Jones in there was absolutely fantastic. And props to Klopp for trusting his players and trusting his team, because they got the job done and they did it in a big way.
Yeah, I was just as surprised as you were to see Curtis Jones in there, but hell of a performance out of the kid. It's really nice to see him getting a lot of minutes in the Champions League. I think that's good for him, and especially against a team like Atalanta, who I think this was their first loss. This was their first loss of the year so far. Yeah, in the Champions League. And they've been playing they're a pretty solid team. So really good for him, really good for his confidence. But Wahomie, like Andrew said, you predicted Jota to get the start, and holy shit, hat trick in the Champions League. Not too bad.
Yeah, because I thought I was hit by it that Bobby's going to play against City because of Klopp's going to want to press them as he normally does. So it made sense to not start Bobby last night and play Jota. I think I was surprised that Jones started. I've not heard my reservations around Jones. I've not sold on him, but I think last night he was really, really good. I thought he was much improved from how he played against West Ham in terms of keeping the ball, his passing, his defensive work rate. So I thought it was a very good performance from him. I think Atalanta were very naive. They allowed us to play, which is stupid. And then even when they scored the first one, they didn't change the style of play. They still decided to still go gun ho and attack us. And I thought that it reminded me of when Roma came to Anfield to play the high line, and we actually destroyed them 4-5-0.
Yep.
And it was so naive. And I thought the same Atlanta. But I thought overall, from the minute go, Hendo and Ginny just didn't allow Atlanta to play. They were pressing, they were keeping the ball, and they were just full of energy. Atlanta didn't have the chance to really breathe. And I thought we just played, it was the best performance we've had since before lockdown last season. And it was just, clinical in terms of football. I was really happy with Williams. I thought he was outstanding. He didn't put a foot wrong. For a 19-year-old against, two big lads in Zapata. And I can't remember the striker, the other guy they've got.
Muriel, something like that.
Yeah, I thought those are physical forwards, and he did really well. One lot was good in the air, won lots of headers. I thought Trent again is I think what Peter Phillips said a few podcasts ago, that Trent will get better as games go on. And he's proven that, because he was defensiveness he was solid again yesterday. That ball to Jota for the first goal was sublime.
That was fantastic.
And I think overall, it was just the ultimate away performance. And what it showed, it reminded me of 17-18 Liverpool. I put a tweet saying that how it was 17-8 to Liverpool, but with 20 times the mentality monster.
Yeah.
Because that Liverpool team, 17-18, we had Meunier in goal, so we were really poor goalkeeper-wise, and a lot of times we were playing Emre Can at centre back. So we weren't defensively solid, and even feel a lot of times it was like Hendo, Milner, and Ginny. So we weren't really defensively solid. I think, and this team obviously has the defensive solidarity. They've got strength in midfield, and they've got the amazing goalkeeper. I thought Alisson was amazing again. Like his leadership, his command in the box. Even though I think Atalanta had that really one good chance, because the second one was offside. The one who hit the crossbar. People keep talking about it as a chance, but it was offside. So I think they only had like one or two really chances in the game. Otherwise, I think the second chance that came was when we made changes, and it was naturally, that was Simica's first game in a long time. So naturally, they got in on that side. Yeah, they got in because of that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't think they really threatened us, and we absolutely battered them. And what it showed is like the statement win, because that showed Liverpool, if you want to play counter-attacking football against us, we can play counter-attacking football. If you want to play open football against us, we can play open football against you. We're just the trio of Salah, Mane, and Jota. Just the pace, the skills, everything is just like ridiculous.
I mean, how about when they brought in that defender too? I think it was 4-0 at this point, and they tried to make the change then. And maybe it was 3-0. I forget. But they brought in that fifth defender, and they really just tried to lock it down so no more goals came in. And we scored another one. Saudi just played him through that outside the right through ball. But yeah, it was strange because, we heard a lot about Atalanta coming into this game about how they were physical, they were pressing monsters, they're, a very talented side, they're good in the air. And I did not see any of that. I think Liverpool just took it to them, smacked him in the mouth. And I remember saying last episode that's how we had to start. We had to start the game with our foot on the gas pedal. And that's what we did. We didn't let up either. It was 5-0 or 4-0, and Klopp got a yellow card. So, I mean, that just sums up these mentality monsters, man.
Even the coach, the Atlanta coach, I read his comment saying that he said that when they lost to Man City 5-1, this is completely different. He said from the first go, he said they Liverpool outclassed them in all areas. And that's the difference. Against City, he felt they had a chance, but he said there was nothing he said there's nothing he could do differently that would have changed the outcome of that game. That they were just too good for them.
Yeah,
that's the statement.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about the game as a whole, there was a couple things that stuck out to me. Number one was, just like you said, Andrew, the energy that we started this game with, and this is not me slandering Bobby by any means, but I think just having Jota start, I think that provided a ton of energy up top. I mean, that was some of the most complete game I've seen the front three play in a long time. I thought they were absolutely fantastic, and you could just see the movement, the energy, and the pace that we have up front when those three start. It's going to be tough to play against, no matter what team you are. I don't care if you're Bayern, Barcelona, Madrid, whoever you are. Those three and their movement, and the fact that all three of them can pretty much play in any one of those positions, it's going to be tough to stop. Number two, the thing I noticed was Gini Wijnaldum has been playing like a madman the last few games. Oh my God, this guy is a pressing monster. He was just harassing that midfield. Like Pau Gomez never got anything going. Wijnaldum and Henderson were absolutely everywhere. They were exactly where they needed to be in every right moment. And just the ball retention, the pressing, especially with Wijnaldum, a lot of the stuff is not going to show up on the stat sheet. But when you just watch him play, his motor was incredibly high. He was cutting down the passing lanes. They made everything, any forward pass for Atalanta was incredibly difficult. And that's exactly what you want out of those two guys. It was absolutely phenomenal. And it allowed Curtis Jones the freedom to roam around a little bit, try to find the ball and get involved in the game. I think that's exactly what we saw. The other thing I noticed was Rhys Williams. This kid, 19 years old, and he has some incredible composure, man. I mean, I know it helps playing with Alisson behind you and having the class that we do in the back, but this kid has all the makings to be a stud center back for years to come. And I'm so thrilled for him that he had this opportunity, especially against this team. I mean, Zapata was really the only guy who showed up for Atalanta. He played a pretty damn good game. But I thought Gomez and Williams did a pretty damn good job on him. You know, he was pretty lively, tried to find the ball, and I thought Rhys Williams was really solid. And then the last thing is just total team performance. I don't think anybody in the starting lineup had, in my opinion, a grade below a 7. I thought every single person was phenomenal. Allison made some really clutch saves. Robertson and Trent were back to doing what they always do. And just across the board, lights out performance from these guys, and the exact type of performance that you want to have going into a game like against Man City. So absolutely thrilled with that. I thought that was great. But
let me ask you guys a question. I was thinking about this last night when I was falling asleep. Joe Gomez has been, I think, phenomenal ever since Van Dijk got injured. I mean, maybe there was one game where he was a little disorganized or whatever, but he's really taken the mantle as one of the leaders in that back line, along with Allison and Robertson. And he's definitely found a level of consistency, and he's upped his game. I was thinking last night, do you think that this may have been Van Dijk being injured or out for the year? This might have been the best thing to happen to Joe Gomez in terms of, like, he has to discover the type of player that he is. Before, he was just under Van Dijk's shadow, just kind of like his first lieutenant, just playing good games here and there, didn't have to organize the defense, just kind of had to shut down his man. Now he has a lot more responsibility. He's discovering if he's a leader or not. He has to show that consistency because he doesn't have a Van Dijk to kind of, pull him by the scruff of the neck and get him over the line. So that's kind of what I was thinking about last night.
Yeah, I think I'd say it has brought the best in Gomez. I think it's brought the best. I think it's brought the best in everyone at centre back, because I was going to say, if you watched last night's game, Trent was doing a lot of orders as well, shouting instructions as well, and obviously he's tipped to be future captain Trent down the line. So I think Van Dijk's caused everyone to have to raise their defensive level. I think it's bringing out the best in Gomez, because as well, when he's next to Williams or Nat Phillips, he knows he has to be the leader at the back, and I think he's relishing that. So I think this will be the making of Gomez in terms of like taking him on to that next level that he still needs to get to. And just if he can just say that, keep the concentration, then
yes,
and maintain this for at least a whole season. It's keep concentrated. Then, you've got the potential there of like a world-class centre back. So I think this is going to do really well for Gomez in terms of him becoming a leader and become more vocal and stuff. So still a way to go, but I think it's going to do wonders for him.
And he got that assist to Jota for the second goal. I mean, that was a nice over the top ball. Very similar to what Van Dijk would do.
He had another one. He almost found Salah in the second half too, over the top. Salah almost had that. That was a great ball. But that's a good point, Andrew. I do, like, obviously we all wish Van Dijk was still in there, but yeah, in terms of Joe Gomez's development and kind of his standing in world football, absolutely. I think when Joe Gomez thinks about this, I think he realizes the opportunity that's at hand, and I think he's also figuring out a lot about himself in this, because with Van Dijk next to him, he's almost like the little brother. He's the little bro, and he's looks up to him. He seeks out the guidance, and now at the young age for a center back, at the age of 23, he's now that guy for Nat Phillips and for Rhys Williams, but also for him. I think for him it's a challenge, not only from a leadership perspective, but to also work on what his weaknesses are, which we talk about all the time: his discipline, his organization, and his skill in the air. And I think this is putting some pressure on him to show everybody, like, listen, I'm like Van Dijk. Yeah, he's the best, but we're 1A, 1B. And he sees this as an opportunity of, if we can go out, get a string of wins in, he's going to be one of the first names in the team sheet for England. Like, honest to God, if he keeps playing like the way he's playing, like, we'll be talking about Joe Gomez being the number one center back in England. I think a lot of Liverpool fans already thought that, But in terms of world football, his name could be on the map now going forward if he keeps putting in these types of performances. If he can go out and have a hell of a result against City, you best believe he's going to start getting a lot of attention, and he's going to start getting a lot of praise from people outside of Liverpool. So definitely something to keep an eye on.
I think what we have to also think about is I like to talk about the strength and depth we've got now. The options. The fact that we can take Jota off, bring Firmino, bring on Keita, take off Trent, bring on Nico Williams. They're bringing Tim Simicast for Robbo. There's depth in it. It's crazy. And I think the thing for me is that going to this game yesterday, we were second favourites by the bookies. Most of Europe thought that this was going to be a difficult game for us. Atlanta, we were going to struggle. And even City, I'm pretty sure Pep would have thought, I've got Olympiacos, but easy game at home. I could put a weakened team up for that, or even take off my players at half time and win that. Liverpool are going to be in a gruesome game against Atalanta. So they're going to be knackered into the weekend. But the fact is, Klopp was able to make changes like around 70-minute mark to take off key players for the weekend, and also put an emphatic 5-0 win that would have sent shockwaves to the rest of Europe, because no one's going to want to play us home away because of, if you had Thiago, Matip and Fabinho into that, it's ridiculous. You think about the 3 players that are missing.
Give me Thiago. I want Thiago.
I think the confidence we're going to have now, especially at the back, having that clean sheet is huge. I know he might change it to maybe Nat Phillips and Matip on the weekend, but the confidence in that back line is going to be huge. To know we've gone away to one of the best attacking teams in Europe for goals scored. I think when they're in the top 3 for most goals scored last season.
Yep.
And we've gone there, kept a clean sheet, and actually smashed them at home. That is going to put the confidence of the team sky high, and it's worrying for the rest of the league and the rest of of Europe, because Liverpool in that form, no, you can't beat us in that form. Not even Bayern can live with us.
I think that result.
Pace. Sorry. Yeah, no one can handle us in that way.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that this result is massively important for all the reasons that you had just mentioned, but also when you look at it, we have a lot of games in November the players do with international break. Liverpool don't. I think they have 4 or 5 games for November, but December, I think we have another 7 or 8. So, and I think there's still Champions League in December, if I'm not mistaken. So, if we can rest players because of this result, then it's massive. It's absolutely massive. If I figure we'll beat Midtjylland again. Ajax don't scare me, and those 2 teams we play at home, I think, next. So it's just
Atlanta next.
Atlanta's at home next.
Yeah. After Leicester, Atalanta.
Yeah,
and then I think
the only away Champions League game we have left is at Midtjylland.
Yeah. Okay.
Otherwise,
But still, that we have 9 points. Ajax has 4, right? And Atalanta has 4. So we're sitting in a pretty comfortable position right now. This is huge.
Yeah.
I think we've been at Anfield.
It's done.
I think we're pretty much secure. We're pretty much guaranteed to be in the top, to have gone through.
Yes.
And then it's just getting a win at home to Ajax. Put the B team out there, get a win at home there, and then you can rest most of the best players for that game. Don't have to play any of them.
Yeah. Especially with the scoreline that we just got, all we need is pretty much a win and a draw, and we're guaranteed top spot. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But with the performances from the back line, since Van Dijk's injury, especially from Phillips and Williams, and with Matip coming back in the fold, are you guys still in the position that we need to go get a key center back in January? Or are you starting to maybe fade on that a little bit? If, let's just assume that all 4 of these guys are healthy when the holiday season comes to an end and the calendar flips over and the transfer window opens. Are you still looking for a Upamecano or somebody like that to come in? Or are you now more confident maybe maybe a 6-month loan for a little bit of a smaller player or something like that. Maybe an Ozan Kabak type of profile was going to be only maybe 20 mil, something like that. Are you more comfortable going that way, or would you still rather bring in one of those bigger names now?
I'd still personally bring in another centre back. I still think we need that extra leadership and extra ability. And I think getting another centre back that's high quality, if it was possible, guarantees the Champions League. I think as good as Nat Phillips and Williams have done, there are bigger teams out there that could be more of a threat for them, which you might need that a bit more experience. Like if you're in a semi-final of Champions League or final and you're having to play Nat Phillips or Williams, I think the exposure of that, the being in the final could get to them and actually then be detrimental to us because, people can get stage fright in that semi-final or final and make mistakes. So I think in that sense, I'd want a more experienced centre-back to come in and just guarantee us that extra stability at the back and it'll put us through to the Champions League or Premiership title.
Well, before I let you go, Andrew, the only thing I want to add in there, though, is think about how crowded our midfield is, especially when Thiago's healthy. Naby's getting back into fitness. It's going to be hard to play Henderson, Thiago, Fabinho, Gini Wijnaldum. We have so many options in the midfield. I mean, we could just now rely on Fabinho playing more of a center back role, and then now all of a sudden you have 5 guys that you can rely on. So, what do you think, Andrew? I mean, are you gonna drop the big bucks for a big center back or what?
I don't know. It's tough. I don't like rolling the dice twice in 1 year and then getting bit in the ass twice in 1 year. So I don't know if we should. I agree with Wahomie. If we sign a big time center back with that leadership along with Gomez consistently, I think that we would win or at least get to the finals of the Champions League. Or I guess at least the semifinals. But I just don't know if Liverpool will do that. I think if everybody's healthy by the transfer window, I think they would go. I think the FSG would go more of your route, Steven. I think that maybe they would try to get somebody on loan for 6 months until the summer and see what happens there. But it could go either way. I don't want to end up in this situation again where Matip isn't as reliable as he has been recently because he hasn't been reliable at all. If Fabinho picks up another injury, then we're in the same situation where we are in now. And I don't know how consistent these young players can be over a long period.
I would still say that when everyone's fit, as well as Gini's played, I would still favour Fabinho with Hendo and Thiago midfield over starting him.
Yeah.
And I still would say I would love to see a Gomez Matip, Fabinho, Hendo, Thiago midfield team lineup. I think that would be really good for us going forward. Because we've seen if Gomez can play well with Phillips or Williams, he can play well with Matip. So there's no debate where people were saying to me before, can they play together? Now he can play well with them too. He can play well with Matip. So I think that would be really strong if we had that centre. But I think although I'd want a top centre back, I don't see what happened in January because I don't see who's going to buy in January that's going to come halfway through the season. So I don't think that's going to happen. But I've heard that we're trying to obviously, if we can get his wages down, we're trying to get for David Alba. Either do a pre-contract in January transfer, because he can talk to new clubs in January.
What are his wages right now?
Crazy. The reason why he's leaving Bayern is because I think Bayern offered him like 250 or something, 60, and he asked for like 400k or something ridiculous. And then his agency get like a 10 million sign-on fee. But people are saying that Thiago asked for Bayern more wages and then took a pay cut for us. So people are saying that maybe he just wants to stay at Bayern. He wants a big paycheck.
This says he's on £165,000 a week.
He's currently starting now, but I think the negotiations fell down because he was after ridiculous money.
He wanted more.
Yeah, way more.
Agent Thiago, see what he can do for us.
So I think if Klopp has to talk to him and say, look, you're going to come play for Liverpool, I think he'll take a pay cut. Because there's no way he's going to get that money at Liverpool. He's not getting 300 grand. It's not Liverpool.
No way.
So
Probably not even gonna get 200 grand.
So
Yeah, Bayern just recently came out and said they want to keep him. The president
I
came
don't
out.
know. I don't know. If that's the news thing, but Castle yesterday said the deal's contract toss has fallen down. But I think they want to keep him, but it's just get him to accept a decent salary for them. Like that's the issue.
Yeah.
But if we get him, he's our new Milner.
Yeah, I can play anywhere.
He's
Literally
can play left back, centre back, he play defensive midfield, and he's world class in all those positions. So
Club
you know,
loves
free kicks,
flexibility.
and he'd be outstanding for us. So if we get him, then Liverpool are set. You know, him and Van Dijk is a ridiculous partnership. Or you could do three at the back. If Klopp wants to play three at the back, he's now got the option to do that. He can play Gomez, Van Dijk, and Alba, and then play two wing backs and Trent and Robertson. So
Don't get my hopes up, man. Come on.
But I just hope that's what I heard. That and Grizz is saying that we should be looking at Alba. So I think that Football Whisper said that we're in talks for him with agent or something. I don't know, but I don't see anyone signed in January to start in January. I think if Alba was to come, it'd be this summer.
Yeah, I agree. Something to keep an eye on, that's for sure. But one of the other things I noticed about this game, and I kind of wanted to touch on it before we get to man of the match, but Klopp's substitutions kind of piss me off sometimes. I feel like, we had command of that game, especially when Salah scores right after the half and then Mane follows it up 2 minutes later. We were 4-0, before the 50-minute mark. I would have loved to see him make the substitution sooner. He didn't make the first subs until it's the 65th minute. That seems to be his number. But it happens throughout the season where I'm saying that, like, we need a change, and it feels like it always comes 10 or 15 minutes later. Like, I feel like yesterday would have been the perfect opportunity when we went up 4-0. Sub out the entire front line, and then you can sub out Robertson and Trent. Give them a little bit of a rest going into Man City. What are your guys' thoughts on his substitutions patterns? Like, obviously we won, so it's not a big deal. But do you feel like sometimes he kind of waits a little bit longer than he should to make some substitutions? Obviously it's Klopp. I'm not going to argue with the guy, but sometimes I feel like I would have made the move 5-10 minutes earlier than when he decides to do it.
Yeah, I'd agree. I do think sometimes, I think he waits too long, and then sometimes he makes the wrong substitutions where you're thinking, well, I don't really agree with that sub. But then when I said the amount of times I said, "Oh, Klopp wrong substitution," then he gets it right. We snack a win at the end. So it's like, but I do agree. I do agree that he could have rested people much more earlier at 4-0. But I don't know. At the end of the day, it's hard to argue who would argue with Klopp. But I do agree. I do think sometimes subs could be done earlier, and it could be something a bit more bolder. In sometimes substitutions, I don't see why Shaq couldn't get a run like last night. 4-0, 5-0. Why couldn't he bring on Shaq? So I didn't understand why he brought Bobby on, to be honest, yesterday. I thought it was resting for Sunday. Why is he bringing Bobby on for? Why not bring on Shaq or Origi? So I didn't understand that. So just sometimes I do think, okay, I didn't get it.
Yeah, it's tough. Sometimes you hit the nail on the head, homie. Sometimes you're just like, what the hell are you doing? Make a sub already. We need some fresh legs. And especially in the past when, the front three would play 90 minutes for 4 straight games, you're like, all right, what's going on here? This is the guy who's always complaining about the fixture list and, how many games do we play in a month and that sort of thing. You'd think that he would try to rest certain players in certain situations. But I was actually really happy with the subs last night, except for Milner on for Robertson. I think I tweeted, like, what the hell? Like, you have Tsimikas on the bench. Why not use him? And then he waited another 10 minutes until he actually brought him in. So stuff like that frustrates me sometimes, but everything else yesterday, at least, was perfect. I mean, it was great to see Naby Keita. I'm glad Bobby got a little run in. Tsimikas and Nico. I thought Nico put in a great ball at one point. Tsimikas put in a great ball. So, I mean, if we can afford to make those changes, I think he needs to be more generous with them for sure.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right, well, let's wrap up with who you guys had for man of the match.
Ooh, I'll go Jota. Jota was incredible. He set
And
the
it's easy one to say
game.
Jota.
You want to talk about putting your foot in the gas. This guy just completely. You know what? I think that's part of the reason why we surprised Atalanta. I think they were maybe they were expecting Bobby Firmino. You know, he's always checking too. Jota did the exact opposite. He was making those runs. There was a lot of activity up on the front line, and I think we just hit him in the mouth. They weren't expecting it. So I mean, Jota for me, unbelievable finishes. He had an unbelievable game. He was so well rounded and deserved the man of match for me.
I'm gonna go knock Jota. I think it's easy to go for Jota to say hat trick. I'm going to go Jordan Henderson because I think like if you watch the game and the amount of instructions and orders that Hender's putting out to the defense, you feel like his whole leadership's gone up a huge level since Van Dijk's gone. You know, obviously before he wasn't having to do the organising defense, but now he is, and you hear him saying, "Well in, Nick Williams." You hear him shouting, "Well in." When the pass navigated to Nico to Jota, you can hear him say, him shouting to tell him to do the pass, and it's like, "Great pass, what a ball." That kind of leadership, you know. And people, I posted earlier about it, and some random, I think Chelsea fan said, "Oh, no, Arsenal fan goes, oh, why the leaders shout? You know, leaders all captains do that." I said, "Well, no, because watch Liverpool's game. He's telling like instructions to 17, 19, and 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds what to do on the pitch, you know, and then encouraging them, leading them. So I think the easy option to Jota, but I think Hendo was outstanding yesterday as a masterclass. That's why I'm getting to him.
Yeah, I mean, this is tough. Like I said, I thought everyone played a good game yesterday. I mean, Jota got a hat trick. Like I have to give it to him, but you know, once again, I got to shout out Gini Wijnaldum again. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. He and Henderson both just absolutely bossed that midfield. And also tip of the cap to the two young guys, Curtis Jones and Rhys Williams. I thought, again, these two young guys, very valuable minutes in the Champions League, really good for their confidence. And, if they can keep playing like that, you know, Klopp will continue to go to them. So, yeah, man of the match, Jota, but honestly, the entire damn team, when we play like that, we're pretty close to unbeatable. But that pretty much wraps up this episode. We'll be back on Friday for the biggest game of the year against Man City. We win that game, I think we'll be like about 5 points clear of them.
8.
8. Oh yeah, 8, and then they have one extra game. Yeah, they got the game in hand. So keep an eye out for that. You know, in the meantime, you know, we appreciate all you guys. Go ahead and give us a like and subscribe if you haven't yet. But keep an eye out on Friday. We're gonna have an awesome episode coming your way. But until then, up the Reds, baby. We'll see you next time.
See ya.